How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another video, and today we're going to be looking at Season 10, 10.1, the patch notes for League of Legends. I'm glad to be back. Hope you've all had a good Christmas, a good holiday season, and a good new year. We are now in 2020, the next decade, so let's see what the first patch of the new decade has to bring for us. So, 10.1. So, we got all the different skins, which we'll check out later on. Ranked season begins at 4 a.m. on the 10th, so that's in a few days from now. Sett to be released. Obviously, we've seen some bits and pieces here for him, not necessarily on this channel, but on other channels and whatnot. And I'll wait to reserve my judgment. But he basically kind of looks like a combination between Vi and Jax, maybe? Not really, but I think he's basically he's Vi's older brother because he looks way stronger. But yeah, let's get into the balance changes. So Aphelios, his base stats, movement speed decreased by 5, and his HP at base level is decreased by 30, so it's going to affect his laning phase. And then our Moonlight Vigil, Infernum empowered AoE damage 100% to secondary targets to 75% secondary targets. So nerfing his ability to do splash damage in a team fight makes sense. Hurts his laning phase a little bit, so it takes a little bit longer for him to get potentially at a safe state. As well as he's now going to have to play even more careful. Even though I thought, to be fair, you know, he does a good bit of damage from what I've seen, but I didn't think he was that easy, you know, to play, as well as I don't think that he's that easy, you know, to defend for himself in a sense without having the Gravitum Cannon. So like I mainly play mid lane. I play champions like Diana and Nocturne, and obviously they're very easy at getting to him even through a team. So you know, it could be something where that 5 move speed may make a huge difference. We'll have to see. Aurelian Soul. Passive Center of the Universe was lowered by 6 at rank 1. That's probably not going to mean too much of a difference. Maybe slightly for the wave clear early game, you know, but that's probably about it. It'll still be a niche pick. It's not going to be breaking the meta or anything like that. Azir, our base damage and wall duration increase. Now this is very big because this in a choke is 5 seconds is quite a long time. When they nerfed it originally, because it did scale before, I think it went 3, 5, 7 seconds. I want to say it went, or it was like 5, 6, 7. So them increasing the duration is quite nice, and then they're upping it by 25 at all ranks except for the mid one for some reason. I don't know if that's a typo or if that's supposed to be 275. I'm not sure, but it says 325, which is 75 more at rank 2, whereas his base rank at later ranks is only 25 and his first one's only 25. Maybe they want him to be a mid-game power spike. I don't know. Corki getting 10 damage on his second part of his ult and 20 on his third part. Corki was obviously over nerfed, much like Azir during last season, so it's good to see them giving them a little bit of power back. Jax R now works with Genji's Rage Blade, so now works with effective Rage Blade, so I guess they're talking about his increase in damage on his auto attack, or are they talking about that it gives him a stack because it's a spell? I don't think that makes too much of a difference if it is just the activation of his ult, but we'll have to see. Need a little bit more clarification on that. Jace's Q base damage is now increased later. So Jace is going to be getting 25 damage, scaling down to 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 at all ranks for his Shock Blast. So at the main one that we're looking at is the rank 3, so he gets an extra 10 damage. Is that going to equate to much? It's going to equate to maybe half Ruby Crystal over a laning phase, but nothing more than that. Just a better buff, I guess. If he gets ahead, it makes it that when he does get ahead, he can still deal a lot more damage. And I guess, like it says here with Kleptomancy gone, he needs a little bit more oomph once he hits his max Q rank. Callista health growth increased by 11 per rank, so she gains a total of around, probably around a ruby crystal or so overall, and she gains 9 armor at max level from her armor growth stat. So this makes her a bit more of a, bit more dually, because she's more attack speed oriented. She has to get more auto attacks in order for her to deal her damage, which is with her rend. So that's a good buff. I like to see that. Kassadin, his movement speed was nerfed by 5. Why? Why? It doesn't... That... And then Kassadin's mana debuff duration now displays on our border. Oh, so it's going to have like a timer thing around it, I guess. Okay. I mean, but the last 2 patches for Kassadin have made no sense. Like 5 movement speed on him. I mean, sure, just make him even worse than what he already is. I don't get it personally. I think somebody just had a silver game, like I said, on the last nerf. So when they nerfed his Q, I mean, he's very easy to counter. 80 assassins work into him. Just stick an 80 bruiser in the mid lane. You can make it so that he never gets off the ground, and you win the game in 25 minutes. So you can even pick some scaling to counteract him in the later game, as long as you have a bruiser that's somewhat durable come 30 minutes, then it's probably fine. But you can make it so that he just never does anything. This is going to make him even worse in the early game, which is just accentuating his weaker points even more, which doesn't actually result in him being able to get to the late game in any way, shape, or form. 5 movement speed maybe gets to lane a little bit, slightly later because of back timings and stuff like that, but it's not going to be the reason why you pick Kassadin. You're going to pick it into a mage that you feel that you can get away with cheating the lane effectively, and you feel that once you hit level 6, there's nothing that they can do for rooms. But once Kassadin hits level 6, you still have to worry about that, no matter if he has 5 extra move speed, 5 less move speed. Like, that's not going to be on. He has Rift Walk, and blue buff in competitive play at least. Kog'Maw mana penalty now displays on the icon, so it's on the border just like Kassadin's. Mordekaiser, this champion that I feel is very good when you can just 2v1 the lane with your jungler, because, I mean, Mordekaiser has no innate escapes. 1v1 is very good against certain champions, but other champions fall short, so Darkness Rise, so Mordekaiser is too hard to get away from in Kite, the coupled with the synergy of Rise makes it difficult to escape. So the passive duration for Darkness Rise's duration only 4 seconds now, and then the movement speed is a flat 3% at all levels when ranking it. So instead of 1, 6, and 11 going from 3, 6, 9%, it's just 3%. So he's not going to be able to just run you down, which is good. It makes so you have to actually get in close and be a juggernaut. Nami, E also now empowers targeted abilities, so empowers the next 3 basic attack and abilities. AoE spells empowered by Tycholo's Blessing deal 33 to 60% less to non-champions. That's quite nice. So if you want to deal with a spell slinger style 80 carry, so Jin, as an example, was probably someone who didn't utilize Nami's things as well as he could have. Obviously the move speed's great on Jin. Jin likes move speed. Jin also likes his single autos dealing a lot of damage, but also if you can go auto QW and you can use all 3 in one go, and then you can crit the auto, you're dealing a lot more damage before you go to use the crit bullet, which is the one that you want to execute them for the most amount of damage. So a good buff for Nami. And we like this. We want to see enchanters back in the bot lane, because when you just pick mid laners that go bot, it's not fun for anyone. Like the Brands, the Vel'Koz, that sort of stuff. It's just play a mid laner down there, and then they'll be able to do a crazy amount of damage. Sejuani, a little bit of health per level, so an extra, what's that, 90, so like half a ruby crystal or thereabouts. Passive, so it's changed from 10 plus 0.35 bonus armor and 10 plus 0.35 bonus magic resist to 10 plus 0.5 and 0.5. Okay, so that's fine. A little bit of increase there. Nothing too crazy, but it's still giving a little bit of skirmishing back, and making it. Like her early game is still going to be vulnerable, but it's giving it a little bit back so that she can still get tanky later on. Because basically what's happening now is that she gets put down, and then by the time she's supposed to be somewhat tanky, she just gets melted. and then a little bit damage on the permafrost. I'm not sure if you max that or not. Um, yeah. But a little bit damage obviously everywhere helps. So 10, 20, 30, 40 at the later ranks. Shyvana gains resistances when slaying Elder Dragon. Fury gains increase in lieu of ultimate CDR when slaying Cloud Drakes. E mark target's damage ratio monster cap increased. Okay, so passive. Fury of the Dragonborn. Shyvana now gains 5 permanent bonus armor advantages for every Elemental Drake and Elder Drake she slays. So that's the same as before, they're just adding the Elder Drake to it. Fantastic. Cloud Drakes now increase Shyvana's Fury gain by 10, 20, 30, 40% because her ult doesn't have a cooldown. Okay, that is quite interesting. So 40% Fury, she's going to go kill a camp and get her ult back pretty much every time. So that's pretty cool. I think that's cool as an advocate of AP Shyvana. Flame Breath, mark target damage ratio, 3.25% of targets max out, now 3.75 with a damage cap of 150. So it's her AP Shyvana looking pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. Definitely like it a lot. Alright, so what did they do to Sylas? It looks like they changed a whole bunch of stuff on him. So, let's see what it says. So, less base stats early, more later. Passive now gives attack speed. W cooldown decreased. E ratio increased. W, E, and R basic attack reset removed. Or E1 rather. So let's see what they say about him, because this is actually quite interesting. Sylas has been difficult to stabilize for all brackets of players and has been extremely long record of changes since his release. That is true. Maybe because you overloaded his kit, but that's fine. Due to that, we promised that we'd do some bigger work on him outside number of tweaks that would help bring the gap between all levels of Sylas players closer. So you're basically making his skill floor go up and his skill ceiling go down, aka making the champion dumber and easier to play, I guess. Which is never a good thing at any level, in my opinion. If you want to have a champion that's super high skill cap, make it super high skill cap, but also make it super rewarding at the same time. If you make a champion very easy to play, make it easy to play, make it be good, but not crazy good to where it's like you could basically not be playing the video game in order to do damage. Okay, first we're changing his early lane to be more in line with someone like Echo or Fizz, champions that have less control in the early laning phase but get stronger with levels. Well, I mean, Fizz and Echo are pretty decent at level 2, so what are we talking here, level 1? I mean, level 1 he was alright, level 2 he was good, level 3 is good, 4, 5 are pretty much the same, and 6 is when he can basically do some stuff to the opponent that obviously he can steal their ult, he can go sideline, steal someone else's ult, have a skirmish in the jungle, maybe steal the Karthus ult, like, or whoever, you know. So let's see what they also say. Secondly, we're balancing him as a mid laner and prioritizing changes that encourage him to be used there instead of other lanes, okay? So they're trying to focus on him being a mid laner, alright? That should mean that his tankiness early on should be way lower than what it was before, because if he's a jungler, they'll make him tankier, so just to make him a bruiser instead. And finally, we're removing the EQ combo and slowing down his basic attack pattern. We're making a good faith effort to retain his auto-weaving bruiser playstyle while also making measures against the speed in which he bursts down enemies. We'll be looking closely at him in the coming months to see how he landed. Okay, so EQ or like dash Q and then chain the person on the second part of the Q. Okay, sure. HP down by what's it, 60, so that's a decent bit. But his HP is up by 20 per level, so he gains. I'm just trying to do the rough math here. So if he gains 20 extra per level than before, he will catch up at level 4. I want to say. Okay, I mean you go to Freak's stream because he'll probably end up doing the math. His video, maybe Alice touched on it, but he'll probably mention Freak as well. Freak likes to do all the math stuff. Armor growth, we'll get it back. What's this? 5 levels. Level 6, 7. I could be wrong there. Magic resist also down. Probably gets that back at like 13, 14. This is just rough estimates, but yeah, I can see. So he's going to scale better than before, but his base is worse. So passive, Petrocyte Burst. Primary target ratio 1.1. plus 0.2 ability power to 1.1 plus 0.25 ability power. Okay, so he gets a little bit extra from ability power. The range is cut by 100 range, so that's pretty big. Fast change now grants Sylas 6% attack speed when available. Okay. Petrified burst 2 stacks to 3 stacks. I'm not sure what that means. So does he gets like multiple AoEs around him, or so, like he can hit multiple things, so like his next 2 autos or 3 autos are AoE auto attacks? I'll have to see it in play. Now execute secondary targets below 25 health. Oh, well that's quite nice. That was kind of annoying when you did like 6 damage to something when it should have killed it, but yeah, that's quite good. Makes CSing a little bit easier because he is AoEing, so it's probably not going to make it so that you CS perfectly, but it's probably going to help a little bit. Q, Chain Lash. The cooldown increased by 1 second at all ranks. The damage was decreased for the first part by 5, 15, 25, 45 at all ranks, and down by 0.2 ability power. So it's a big nerf on the first part of his Q. And then the second part of his Q is way up. So it does a lot more damage. So 15, 35, 55, 75, 95 with a 0.2 ability power ratio. So hitting the second part is what you want to do. Detonation minion damage reduction is now 60% reduction instead of 45%. So it does less damage to minions. And then no longer slows enemies hit for 2 seconds. So it doesn't slow. And it also can no longer be cast during E, which means you can't like chain your like E into Q at the same time. So basically, that's all they're really doing there. For that, Kingslayer, sorry. Basic attack reset. No longer reset Sylas basic attack. Well, that's kind of bad, considering that was kind of useful, and considering he's a weaving attack speed champion now, that would probably be pretty useful for him, I would think. Let's continue on. So the base damage is identical, but the ability power is up by 0.2, which is pretty good, 20% increase from AP. And then the cooldown is lowered significantly at later ranks, so 1 second, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 4 seconds, something like that. But that's quite good. 4 seconds off later on, so this could be pretty good with CDR. No longer deals 50% increased damage to targets below 40% health. Okay. Heals for 75% more of Sylas below 40%. Heals more based on Sylas, health up to 100% more at 40% health. So I'm pretty sure so it's basically he can heal more the more health he's missing, from anywhere from 100, like 99.9% health to 40% health. It scales, and it's better by 25% at 40% health. But the mana cost is ridiculous. Okay, so are you building this guy Bruiser? Because that's what I'm seeing. You're gonna need to build some type of mana item on him, unless you. I mean, I'm not sure if you can go AP Assassin. I mean, his ratios are really good, but I'm not sure, because you probably need mana. You had Ludens first, but still makes him super susceptible to just getting bursted out. It seems like he's just a pretty gutted version of LeBlanc or Diana, just with like the attack speed and the damage. But let's see what he does. So Absalon, Abduct, E1 basic attack reset, so it no longer resets his basic attack. Another thing that's bad, because he wants to be attacking, like attack, weave, attack, weave, attack, weave. So that'd be really good if he could do this. The E2 base damage is increased by 150 at max rank, and the AP ratio is 1:1. The shield has also been removed, so there's no longer a magic damage shield that you get. It used to be just a shield. Its cooldown is reduced by 1 second at later ranks, so 10 seconds. And then lockout 0.2 seconds when moving if Abduct hits, is 0.05 when moving after. So that means so your chain latches faster, I believe is what it is. So that's quite nice. So he has a lot of all-in potential, but the thing is you have to fight outside a minion wave, and he's melee, and he doesn't have the shield to protect him, which means his sustain isn't good unless he all-ins you. So yeah, his laning phase probably got hit a bit. And then hijack doesn't reset his basic attack. Okay. From what I can tell from these changes, he's going to be he's going to be a lot stronger all in. He's going to need some type of mana item for sure. If he latches onto you with his chain, he's going to kill you. And his wave clear is probably about the same. Yeah. So Sylas will probably be a lot easier to balance because his earlier game is going to be a little bit weaker. But he doesn't have the shield to protect him when he goes to all in. So he's going to be fighting fire with fire. He's not going to be having that shield. He's going to be like how LeBlanc currently is now. When LeBlanc goes in, her only defense mechanism is to dash back out. Except Sylas doesn't even have that. He just has the ability to stun you. And LeBlanc has the ability to root you if she hits the chain. But again, we'll have to see kind of how it plays out against... I'd be very interested to see if he goes top lane and just builds Bruiser, like a Nash's Tooth and Rod of Ages, like the build that Diana players are playing in top lane. It could be interesting. Varus, Q cooldown and Blight cooldown refund and decreased. So down at 2 seconds at all rank, and the Blight cooldown refund is 3 seconds. So Varus' Poke Roll March has been quite weak since the last set. That is true. So yeah, I think this is a good change. Poke Varus is an interesting but boring playstyle in my opinion. It's kind of annoying when it gets ahead. Like Jace, like even in ARAMs, obviously it's super annoying. But like Jace Varus, when it was a thing, season 7, 8, something like that. Could be wrong there. But there was a point where basically people were playing Varus mid, Xerath mid, Ziggs mid. It might have been season 4 if I remember correctly. With Jace top, you would just have poke comps. Nidalee was a good jungler then too, which made it even worse. Vi R is now unstoppable for the whole duration. That is a good change because Vi used to be able to be interrupted on the uppercut portion when she levels the person straight up into the air, which is a good change. Zyra's E empowered E slow decreased. So the E slow is decreased 25%, but it stacks up 2 times but once per plant. So now she can slow you for 50%, or however you want to, if it stacks additively. But you have to get 2 plants rather than just one is 30%. So I like that change. It rewards you for hitting multiple plants on somebody. Alright, the support items. So they changed all of them or thereabouts to basically give the poke ones more mana regen and the HP ones more health regen, while reducing the ability power AD HP on the items at the last item. So 25 ability power, 9 AD, 10 AD with 50 HP, 15 AP, and 50 HP. So yeah, those changes are all fine. I think the mana regen is good for the laning phase. It allows you to basically have some utility, like you want the early game for your support item. However, what I think they should have done, in my opinion, is giving you the mana regen as part of the passive for your gold generation, like the gold generating stacks. So as long as you haven't completed your item, you get the regen. Then once you have the completed item, you can still tone down the stats. So maybe instead of 35 to 25, you go 30, and you go 125 HP here, but you don't get the regen at all. So it's still a nerf to the item's damage output, but it doesn't make it so that you just get more sustain, which is this leads to be more poke oriented. But you can have more poke oriented and more trade oriented patterns in the bot lane, which is good. But once you have the completed item, you want to still feel like you have an item, not half an item, you know. Conqueror now shows total healing gain in the tooltip, so you can see the amount of ridiculous numbers. Conqueror is still going to heal people. Prototype Omnistone cooldown decrease, so 7 to 3 seconds for melee champions, 11 to 7 seconds for ranged champions, is now 5 to 3 seconds for melee champions, and 9 to 7 for ranged champions. That is quite good for Omnistone, even though I still think it's not a great keystone, even with the changes. So bug fixes here. Let's see, works Q no longer depletes mana or goes on cooldown if the target dies during its cast. Okay. Art incentives bonus attack speed. Unique passive no longer activates on a champion that's shielding themselves. Good. So then people will stop building it on Diana, even though it was bad in the first place. Missile types. Missile type abilities in that wouldn't normally be in your vision will no longer give you an early fog of war warning. Okay, sure. Alright, let's look at the skins here. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. So we got Mecha Kingdoms Jax. Looks very, very, it looks like a crossbreed between a Gundam. Crossbreed between a Gundam and like, Yojimbo from Final Fantasy. Leona's just a Gundam in the water, basically, with a shield, and she's fighting an octopus by the looks of it, so, yeah, that's pretty cool. Mecha Kingdoms... Who's this? Draven? Draven. What is this giving me? I mean, he's really big, for one, but, I don't know, I'm getting like a... you could have told me this was a Hecarim skin, I would have probably believed you, but, yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. He looks like a maniac, which is what the champion is. Mecha Kingdom Sett. Yeah, this is just a Gundam for sure. Looks pretty cool, especially when he's going to be somersaulting you into the ground. Mecha Kingdoms Garen. A mech with a sword, basically. Looks pretty cool. And then you obviously have the pay-to-win edition. Prestige. Looks quite nice. And then last but not least, we have Freljord Sylas, which looks like a half-breed between like Talon's, like a base Talon skin, and like Freljord Ash. In my opinion, this looks like it could be like the bow with the arrow here, but it looks pretty cool. Now you're not going to be able to tell if it's Sylas or Talon you're facing in lane, which is interesting. These are the colors that it comes in. Which one do I like the best? I think this one is pretty cool. I like the color scheme on that. Mecha Kingdoms Jax. I don't like this at all. These all look similar-ish, like color schemes, where it's like probably this one's the best one, just because I favor the blue spectrum better. Draven one. This one looks it's pretty cool. I like this one too. Yeah, this is pretty good. Mind you, it looks like he has like octopus like of the thing on the tentacles. I can't remember what they're called. On his blade there. Mecha Kingdoms Sett. Yeah, I think this gold one looks pretty good. These two all look pretty good as well. And then last but not least, Mecha Kingdoms Leona. Oh, it's gonna be real fun trying to see this blade go through the air, because it's fairly dark-ish. In the midst of a team fight, could be quite difficult. I wonder if the actual blade, like the particle effect, changes color. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the patch notes. So overall, I think that it's, we'll just do a quick run back. So Sett is obviously going to be really good when he comes out. Felios probably won't change him too much, even though I think he already has counters in the meta that exist and outside of the meta, because people don't play scaling and competitive at the moment. Aurelion Sol, not really going to change his playstyle much. Azir, good buffs. Probably still, maybe not necessarily enough, because he still has mana issues, but will be very good. I think Corki, going to be pretty good on his level 11 power spike as normal. Doesn't really change Jax too much. Jace is going to be even more obnoxious when he's ahead. Callista may put herself in the meta or inch that much closer. I still think she was a viable pick to begin with. Kassadin, not going to change him from being a late game monster. It's just a quality of life. Mordekaiser is still going to be obnoxious because of his shield and the amount of damage that he can do, and his ability to just eliminate a jungler for Baron attempts. Nami, quite a good change, good quality of life. Sejuani, good quality of life. AP Shyvana could be a potential jungler considering how fast she clears it, and is also very good into the late game as well. Sylas, we'll have to see how his matchups go, but overall looks very good in all ins, but not as safe anymore. Poke Varus is slightly back. Vi's R is now usable again. Zyra is going to be probably more obnoxious. Support items now are more poke oriented favored. Conqueror is still obnoxious. Omnistone is still crap. And and then the skins all look like you should buy all of them. That's going to be it from me. This has been your patch 10.1 notes rundown. I will put it up on the YouTube channel, which you can make sure to give a follow and subscribe. Pilot Flame 226 on all platforms. And until the next one, take care.